I spent 10 years building a company with him from nothing. I went from a foolish girl wearing cheap clothes and living on plain bread, to a company executive, and I even lost a child for him. I thought once he took the company public he would keep his promise that we would never be apart. Instead he turned around, hugged a rich heiress, and fired me. So he had been cheating on me all along. Even his so-called refusal to marry was a lie. Now he has a delicate wife in his arms and wealth to his name. Do not rush. I have spent 10 years saving my cards and my ruthlessness. Sooner or later I will make them repay everything they owe me with interest. The day Chen Siliang Company went public in the United States, the company carried out a massive round of layoffs. My name was on the list. The director sighed. The boss said others do not matter, but you must be laid off. I nodded as if I understood, and packed up my desk. In the misty drizzle, I looked back at Hujin Tower, and suddenly remembered Chen Siliang at 20, grabbing my hand and saying, "Aran, you are never ever allowed to leave me." I started the business with Chen Siliang when I was 19. Back then all the clothes I owned together were worth less than 100 yuan. From a shy, inexperienced girl, to the top executive general manager of a listed company, I endured 10 long years. At the hardest time, Chen Siliang and I gnawed on plain bread together, sleeping on the floor of a tiny office. The winters in the north were truly freezing. My teeth chattered without me realizing it. Chen Siliang always wrapped the only thick quilt tightly around the two of us. We held each other tightly as we slept, like two peanuts pressed together in the same shell. Now 10 years have passed. I am 29. My makeup is flawless. My expression calm. My entire outfit made of luxury brands. It feels as if that poor ignorant girl, who had nothing in her eyes but Chen Siliang, never existed at all. Now I am leaving. I glanced back at my desk and smiled. As I walked out of the company, it suddenly started to rain. The autumn rain was fine and dense like flower needles. Sister Ran, the first heard your hometown is Spring City, a famous scenic place. After you leave, are you going back home to rest for a while? I paused and nodded. Yes, I am going back home. Actually, with your seniority with the boss. If you just lowered your head, maybe the boss would. Do not see me off. Take care of yourself. I wish you a bright future. The director was a smart man. He stopped talking and just smiled. Safe travels. A navy blue umbrella was pressed into my hand. The director waved goodbye. It is raining hard outside. Take the umbrella, it will be more convenient. Sister Ran, thank you for taking care of me before. Holding the umbrella, I looked up and saw a tiny shadow by the observation window high in the company building. When I looked carefully, I realized it was not a person, but a little sparrow sheltering from the rain. The rain grew heavier. On the road, there were pedestrians rushing along in raincoats, and passengers getting soaked as they squeezed onto buses. I randomly picked a cafe, planning to wait until the rain eased before taking a cab home. The cafe owner asked warmly, "This umbrella logo looks familiar. Did you come from Hujin?" "Yes." "Then you must know the boss of Hujin." When the company was just starting, Chen Siliang and I were together day and night. It would not be an exaggeration to say we understood each other perfectly. But after the company got on track and expanded, I could no longer say much about him. Seeing that I did not answer, she guessed I was just a small employee, with no standing in front of the Hujin boss. She quickly changed the subject. "I heard the Hujin boss' fiancé is very kind. She made a rule that any employee who leaves can privately receive an extra compensation payment." I thought of Zheng Shuyi's face. She truly came from a powerful family, gentle and elegant just like her name. Even when saying cutting words, she still looked soft and coquettish. That day, she leaned gently against Chen Siliang, and spoke directly to my face. "President Chen, when exactly will your so-called ex-girlfriend leave?" Chen Siliang said nothing. He just lifted his eyes and stared at my face. He was no longer the 20-year-old Chen Siliang, no longer the boy who could not scrape together 200 yuan. He would no longer wake up crying in the middle of the night, because he dreamed that I left him. When a cripple regains his legs, the first thing he throws away is the crutch. The Chen Siliang in front of me had a cold expression, his emotions unreadable. After a long moment, he only said indifferently, "Leaving now is fine too." The coffee burned my tongue, bitter and painful. I came back to my senses and nodded. Yes, the Hujin boss fiancé is a very good person. I heard she accompanied the Hujin boss from nothing, rising from the bottom to become a new tech elite. I lowered my eyes and did not respond. No, the one who built everything from nothing with Chen Siliang was always me. For that, I even lost a child. When I was 28, I got pregnant, but I did not know it at the time. I still stayed up late rushing projects, and drank a lot while entertaining clients, then suddenly vomited blood and passed out. When Chen Siliang rushed into the private room, I was briefly conscious. The perfume smell on him was so unfamiliar. He never wore perfume. How could he? My heart felt like it was being cut. Blood surged up my throat, and I completely passed out. I do not know how much time passed. A faint disinfectant smell filled my nose. Only then did my overwhelming anxiety ease slightly. When I woke up again, the first thing I saw was Chen Siliang's haggard face. Aran, you are finally awake. Why? Why did you not tell me you were pregnant? Our child. The child is gone. Chen Siliang finally stopped holding back, and burst into loud sobs. Anyone who saw it would think he was deeply in love. Hearing the bad news, my vision went dark. I nearly bit my lips bloody. What did you say? I was pregnant. Chen Siliang grabbed my shoulders, tears streaming down again. Aran, did you not know yourself? The baby was already 47 days old. I instinctively covered my flat stomach. So the baby is gone now. Yes, we could not save the baby. He wiped his tears. I passed out again. Chen Siliang's voice kept echoing in my ears. Finally everything went quiet. I had a very sad dream. A little boy was playing on a slide all by himself. When I appeared, he smiled and ran over to hug me. I played with him for a long time, and felt very happy. In the end, the little boy waved his hand and said goodbye. Goodbye, Mom. My heart ached as I jolted awake. Tears poured out like beads from a broken string. Yes, my child was already gone. My sobbing woke Chen Siliang, who had been guarding my bedside. Aran, do not cry. It is my fault. He gently wiped my tears, guilt almost overflowing from his eyes. If only I had taken better care of you, maybe the baby could have been saved. Even though he was telling me not to cry, his own tears never stopped. He trembled as he looked at my sad and hopeless eyes, hesitating before speaking. Aran, how about you let go of company matters for a while? I never want you to overdraw your health for me again. Be my wife. All you need to do is wait happily for me to come home every day. Aran, you do not know how scared I was while you were unconscious. Okay. Immersed in the pain of losing my child, I agreed. Keep my position reserved. Chen Siliang tucked in my blanket, and kissed my forehead. All right, you can come back anytime you feel bored. During my hospitalization, Chen Siliang spent a lot of time with me. Every morning, a bouquet of fresh roses appeared on time. I was too weak to move easily, so he carried me to the bathroom, and helped me in and out of bed. Even for meals, he cooled each spoonful and fed me himself. It felt as if we had returned to the days of passionate love. As I felt his meticulous care, the doubts in my heart became harder to suppress. One day, I stared at his side profile as he bent down to put socks on me. Tell me, who were you with that day? What? The night I fainted. Who did you rush over from? No one. He denied it instinctively. His index finger trembled slightly. Chen Siliang felt guilty. My heart finally sank. Chen Siliang, you lied to me. My voice carried a tremor even I did not notice. I already smelled the scent on you that night. I closed my eyes in exhaustion, unwilling to look at him again. Aran listened to my explanation. That night I was indeed with a woman, but we were talking business. She is the youngest daughter of old Master Zheng, an industry tycoon. We met privately because she was interested in our overseas business. That night she drank a bit too much. I helped her into the car. That is why I picked up her scent. Chen Siliang almost reverently kissed the back of my hand. Aran, you will believe me, right? Looking at the intense gaze he gave me, my heart softened. Mr. Chen, whose scent has been contaminated. How do you think I should punish you? He let out a sigh of relief, and lowered his voice. Of course, by dragging me down with you. As he spoke, he lunged over and hugged me, tickling me. The two of us laughed together like before, with no cracks between us. Looking back at myself at 28, I was truly stupid beyond belief. So easily fooled by Chen Siliang again and again. After I was discharged, even though my position was still kept at the company, I no longer handled any work. I slept until I woke naturally every day, and went wherever I wanted. I lived a rare leisurely life. Except for the pain of that lost child, fate seemed especially kind to me. Within a year, my body recovered very well. Aside from occasional overtime, Chen Siliang almost always came home on time to keep me company. On the eve of my 29th birthday, I specially bought a sexy beautiful dress, planning to give him a surprise. I started preparing ingredients and cooking very early. At exactly 5 in the evening, a whole table of steaming delicious dishes was ready. I changed my clothes, sat at the dining table, and imagined the surprised look on Chen Siliang's face. I could not help smiling. When the clock pointed to 5:30, I could not sit still anymore. I called Chen Siliang, but his phone was already off. In an instant, cold sweat soaked my body. Chen Siliang never lost contact. Even when working overtime, he always informed me. I quickly called the company chief assistant, Mana, Has Chen Siliang left the company? Sister ran. Yes, he left. He left on time at 4:40 today. I hung up and started checking local real-time traffic accident alerts. There was nothing at all. An hour passed and I was burning with anxiety at home. Thunder and lightning flashed outside and a torrential rain poured down. I changed my clothes and took a cab. I checked every corner along the route from the company after work, afraid of missing Chen Siliang. In the middle of the road a black Porsche brushed past. It was Chen Siliang. When I opened the door, what he saw was my drenched and miserable look with wet bangs. Aran, why did you go out? I threw myself into his arms, feeling wronged. Where did you go? Do you know how worried I was? I kept looking the whole way. Chen Siliang wiped my face with a towel. It is my fault. I just wanted to give you a surprise. A diamond necklace appeared before my eyes. The shine of the heart of Oasis made him look even more affectionate. It can only be picked up in the East District of the city. He put the necklace around my neck. The cold, heavy diamond pressed against my delicate skin. He looked at me in the mirror with his hand resting on my collarbone. Aran, you are beautiful. A deep heart-racing kiss fell on my lips. When I thought he was going to go further, he pulled back. Aran, let us eat first. I am really hungry. He acted like a big dog who knew how to act cute. Please trouble yourself to heat up the food. Yes, my dear wife. He gave a funny salute before carrying the dishes into the kitchen. I smiled and shook my head. But on impulse I brought the necklace under my nose and smelled it. There was no scent at all. I covered my face. I really was crazy. Chen Siliang loved me so much. How could he cheat? The next morning it was gloomy and raining. I was home alone cleaning up the suit Chen Siliang had changed out of. But in the hidden inner pocket of his suit I found a hair tie. Why would he deliberately keep this in his pocket? I had short hair and had no use for it at all. My mood sank. Was it prepared for some long-haired girl? Were they that close? I looked at Chen Siliang after he got off work, wanting to speak but stopping myself. He did not notice at all. In the end I tossed the hair tie in front of him. Where did this hair tie come from? He looked puzzled. Your suit pocket. Maybe I just really want to see you grow your hair long. So I prepared it in advance. He spoke nonsense with a straight face. HMPH, he was definitely fooling me. I teased with a smile. Maybe one of your lovers stuffed it in there. Chen Siliang expression froze. You are always suspicious. You are almost obsessed. He quickly wiped his mouth. I am full. I need to handle work in the study. Do not disturb me if it is nothing. No matter how I looked at his back, it felt like he was fleeing in panic. Until several months later, I ran into Mana on the street. She was enthusiastically telling gossip to a friend. You have no idea. That Miss Jung kept her eyes glued to the boss. She made an exaggerated expression. How did your boss react? Her friend asked curiously. I think he secretly enjoyed it, Mana said disdainfully. The boss often takes this Miss Jung out at noon. They spend a lot of time alone together. One night the two of them even locked the office and stayed inside alone for an hour. That was the day the boss' real girlfriend even called to ask. Then what did you say? Her friend pressed. What else could I say? The boss had instructed me long ago. I just lied. Mana shook her head. I am just an employee, doing this kind of thing for the boss. And there is not even emotional damage compensation. Wow, rich people really play around. According to you that Miss Jung is so rich, why would she like him? It is just. They walked farther away. I clenched the diamond at my chest. My thoughts in complete turmoil. Was what they said true? No. Chen Siliang would not betray me. But, would he? Chen Siliang and I lay in bed as usual. I want to go back to work at the company. I spoke casually in a drowsy tone. What? Chen Siliang was startled and sat up. Why do you suddenly have this idea? I sat up too. It is too boring. I want to go back to the company. Aran, you can travel. You can go shopping. Those are much more interesting than working. I propped my chin with one hand. If I go to work you can see me anytime. Is that not good? Chen Siliang was left speechless. I did not miss the trace of panic in his eyes. Do whatever you want. I do not care. He suddenly turned his back to me and lay down in a huff. Why was he so resistant to me going back to the company? Could it be? Full of doubts I slowly turned my back to him as well. At 29 we were sleeping in the same bed with different dreams. I went to the company with Chen Siliang. Former colleagues all looked at me with an indescribable gaze. I ignored it and sat back at my desk. Chen Siliang walked into his office. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. Until I saw Zheng Shuyi. She carried a pink handbag. Her ivory arms wrapped in a Chanel shawl. Walking gracefully down the corridor. Then she turned back. Casually pulled over a chair. And sat in front of me. So you are Zhao Ran. She sized me up and down full of hostility. You do not look like much. As she spoke she stood up. Pushed open the door to Chen Siliang office with practiced ease. A sweet sticky Siliang drifted out. One door cut off all sight and imagination. I was stunned. Only then did I understand why my colleagues had looked at me that way. Sister Ran, the boss is calling you. I nodded and walked into Chen Siliang's office. Zheng Shuyi was clinging to his side. He showed not the slightest impatience. When he saw me enter, the ambiguous atmosphere was instantly broken. Siliang, do not forget what you promised me. All right, you go out first. I have something to say to her alone. Zheng Shuyi stood up unhappily, slamming the door shut as she left. Chen Siliang, I need an explanation. There is nothing to explain. I fell in love with someone else. He said it as casually as talking about what to eat for dinner. I almost suspected one of us had gone crazy. When did it start? I clenched my teeth, forcing myself to stay calm. 2 years ago. The year I miscarried you already. My tears could no longer be held back. Why? Why did you treat me like this? Chen Siliang's face was cold. Originally I did not plan to confess to you so soon. If I had not come, I would still be kept in the dark by you. I cried and shouted. Chen Siliang, I trusted you so much. In your eyes was I just a fool? So many details I had deliberately ignored came rushing back. The unfamiliar perfume scent. Occasional overtime followed by immediately showering when he got home. The atmosphere clearly right, yet he refused me, saying he was unable. The 1.5 hours of losing contact on my birthday. So after 10 years of love, I was the only joke. Miss Zhao, I advise you to leave Chen Siliang quickly. Zheng Shuyi looked down on me from above. Do you like him that much? This pampered, glittering rich girl looked certain. Of course. I like him. If I like him, I will definitely get him. I almost pitied her terrible taste. She covered her belly smugly. He proposed to me, and I am already carrying his child. Miss Zhao, you have no chance of winning. After 10 years of dating, he still did not marry you. Now it is even more impossible. I lowered my head, feeling bitter inside. He once said he was a marriage skeptic. So it turned out he just did not want to marry me. I actually wasted 10 years on a scumbag like this. Before leaving, I decided to remind this young lady of something. He treats me like this now. How can you be sure he will not treat you the same in the future? The young lady was carefree. He would not dare. My father signed a performance betting agreement with him. If he dares to treat me badly, he will have to leave with nothing. I nodded, losing convincingly. Suddenly I remembered 17-year-old Chen Siliang saying to me, Aran the First will definitely make something of myself in the future. Although the company is currently only in my name, once it grows big you will definitely have half of it. Aran the First will always like you. Only you. Back then the promises of a boy were so moving and fiery. That past word like made my heart tremble for no reason. But I did not realize he was only 17 at the time. At that age, saying like was too reckless. Like a coquettish love talk. Or a casual joke. So it could count. Or it could not. Far less reliable than a contract in black and white. Chen Siliang, let us talk alone. I never thought that one day I would use the negotiation skills I had honed for 10 years on Chen Siliang. I never thought that one day I would bring up my lost child as a bargaining chip. I never thought that one day I would use the Hujin secrets I once held as leverage to threaten Chen Siliang. At the end of the negotiation, the hostility faded, suspicion and probing settled. 10 million in compensation was transferred into my account. Chen Siliang and I faced each other in silence for a long time. 10-year lovers. Ending like this was bleak beyond words. So in the end, love really does come down to conscience. Zheng Shuyi's sudden intrusion broke the awkward final moments alone between Chen Siliang and me. President Chen, when exactly will your so-called ex-girlfriend leave? Now leaving is fine. Chen Siliang Company went public. Our relationship ended as well. But my revenge had only just begun. I left without looking back, as if I had never been there. At home it seemed Zhao Ran traces were everywhere. The mouthwash cup Zhao Ran used. The small ornaments Zhao Ran bought. A faint, lingering scent. Whenever he stayed home alone, Chen Siliang always felt inexplicably irritated. Siliang, my father said before our wedding, according to custom, we have to live apart for a few months. Zheng Shuyi clung to his arm, acting spoiled. Oh, I really cannot bear to leave you. Siliang, can you bear to leave me? Siliang, why are Zhao Ran things still kept in this house of yours? Just thinking that you are still living in the house she decorated makes me angry. I will smash the renovation and redecorate it myself. For the first time, Chen Siliang felt Zheng Shuyi non-stop chatter was unbearable. If you want to smash it, then smash it. I do not care. Chen Siliang, why are you giving me that look? Zheng Shuyi stared at his expression suspiciously. Could it be you still miss your ex-girlfriend, so you cannot bear to throw away this junk? You are really unreasonable. Chen Siliang stormed off. Zheng Shuyi shouted angrily behind him. HMPH, if you will not let me throw it away, I will do it anyway. When Chen Siliang returned to the house, Zheng Shuyi had already left. The floor was a complete mess. Various ceramic cups, Zhao Ran accessories, bottles and jars, all shattered across the floor. Chen Siliang sat down tiredly in the study. Zheng Shuyi still had some restraint. Nothing in the study had been touched. On the desk was a ceramic Garfield cat. Chen Siliang remembered making this for Zhao Ran when he was 22. That day was Zhao Ran's birthday, and he was broke. After investing money into the studio, he could not even afford a decent cake, so he went to a pottery studio and shamelessly asked for a discarded lump of clay. In exchange for helping for free for a day, he clumsily followed a picture, spending half a day before barely shaping a Garfield cat. He carefully painted it, and unexpectedly it fired successfully in one go. Zhao Ran really liked Garfield. Chen Siliang still remembered her eyes sparkling, jumping up and hugging him in delight. Looking at this Garfield now, it looked extremely crude, nothing like it, clearly made so ugly, yet she liked it so much back then. Chen Siliang casually picked up the Garfield. He suddenly noticed a small hole at the bottom. Inside the hole was stuffed a rolled up strip of paper. He carefully pulled the paper out. The handwriting was a bit blurred from age. It was Zhao Ran handwriting, but Chen Siliang still recognized what was written on it. It says, "Dear soft-hearted God, Chen Siliang has treated me so well. I will treat him the best. I want to be with Siliang forever. P.S. I pray that I can save some money next year to buy him the gaming console he has been eyeing in the display window." Chen Siliang held the note in silence for a long time. 2 months later, Chen Siliang received news of my death. At the same time, an email arrived in his inbox. Chen Siliang read, "Siliang, by the time you read this email, I will likely no longer be around. I have known you since I was a child, and we officially became a couple when I was 19. Like the poem says, a boy on a bamboo horse, circling the bed with green plums. I thought we would grow old together, but I never expected you to fall out of love first. Actually, I am really weak. When you said you were tired of me and had fallen in love with someone else, my first reaction wasn't anger, nor was it sadness. Instead, I wanted to humbly beg you not to leave me. Such a woman without dignity must be laughable in your eyes. Fortunately, I resisted the urge to act on that impulse. I felt your betrayal like an unending nightmare. I was once a staunch follower of Chen Siliang. I could distrust everyone, but never you. Yet, as we walked this path together, you lied to me time and again. You were once so good to me. Now, I want to hate you, but I just can't. I can only leave. It's been 10 years, and I have nothing. No lover, no children, nothing that I wanted. I want to find our baby. The child who passed away. How pitiful. He will probably be the only child you'll ever have in this lifetime. 5 years ago, you didn't pick up the physical exam report, and I picked it up for you. You have severe oligospermia. The chances of having a child are almost 1 in a billion. Such luck will never happen again in your life. Just like how I will never love you again in this life. You fell in love with someone else the year I miscarried. As a lover, you were truly heartless. As a father, you were really incompetent. I want to hate you, but I can't let go of you. Every time I think of you and everything about you, my heart aches so much. At the end of a life, people speak kindly. I just want to say that in my next life, I never want to meet you again. I will never want to see you again, for eternity, with our baby." Chen Siliang read the email. His eyes were filled with rage. At that moment, Zheng Shuyi came in with workers. "Come, smash it all. Smash everything about Zhao Ran." Chen Siliang looked at her arrogant expression and for the first time, felt intense disgust. The workers spread out and were about to start. Chen Siliang stopped them. "You all, get out." The workers looked at each other in confusion and stood still. Zheng Shuyi widened her eyes, incredulously asking, "Chen Siliang, what's wrong with you?" "Yes, I'm crazy. To give up such a good Ran and marry you, this broken shoe." Once Chen Siliang said this, Zheng Shuyi couldn't take it anymore. She lunged at him, scratching his face. Chen Siliang didn't avoid it, instead grabbing her hair. During the struggle, Chen Siliang was in pain and slapped her hard. Zheng Shuyi lost balance and fell to the floor, the blood staining the Persian carpet in the living room. The scene was chaotic. One of the stones in the living room plants shifted by 0.1 millimeter. Since I discovered Chen Siliang's affair, I had already set up hidden cameras at home. Of course, I had also prepared concentrated Lang Lang essence. I sent the full video to Zheng's old man. Since Miss Zhao was so decisive and calculating, why did she keep following Chen Siliang before? I can only say that love makes people blind, both in sight and in mind. I sighed. If I hadn't been following Chen Siliang, I wouldn't have known he was allergic to Lang Lang. Yes, Chen Siliang is allergic to Lang Lang. And he has a unique allergic reaction. When he inhales the pollen, his mood drastically changes and he becomes extremely irritable and impulsive. Even he himself didn't know about this. After all, for the past 10 years, he never took part in household chores or anything related to family management. Little did he know that this would become my weapon for revenge. It's said that later, Zheng's old man arrived at the hospital with bodyguards and beat Chen Siliang up. Then, that very night, he filed a lawsuit demanding to enforce the performance contract. After Chen Siliang woke up, he couldn't stop it. I raised a faint smile at the corner of my lips. Only one last step remains in my revenge. The prey is about to fall into the trap. A few days later, the rain stopped and the clouds parted. Chen Siliang suddenly received a notification. Someone anonymously reported him for illegal bidding. Chen Siliang's heart skipped a beat, feeling something was wrong. I was in a great mood, strolling down the newly built Phoenix Avenue. Coincidentally, it was the period of heavy crackdown, and what Chen Siliang had done would make him face the highest penalty. As the sound of the sirens drew closer, he looked up into the distance. Under the phoenix trees, I smiled brightly at him. He rubbed his eyes, suddenly excited. Ran, is it really you? Ran, look at me. I was wrong. Ran, because of his fierce resistance, he was quickly subdued and handcuffed. Before turning away, I silently said a sentence to him. He looked at me, his face turning pale, and then he froze, not moving again. The shadows of the trees beside the road quickly retreated. Suddenly, I remembered 10 years ago, when Chen Siliang stayed by his mother's sickbed. She had already been very ill. But his father never came to visit. When his mother was dying, she even gave up on the will to live. No matter how he begged her, she refused to take medicine, even vomiting out the pills she had taken. The day his mother passed away, he cried and said to me, Ran, I only have you left. Ran, you must never leave me, forever. He seemed like he could never keep anything. Just like later, when he himself abandoned my love. Just like now, he couldn't keep his wealth or his bright future. The last thing I said to him was, Chen Siliang, now you disgust me. In fact, compared to that sentence, I wanted to say, the rainy season is over, and your life is ruined. But mine has just begun.